So students, today the aim of our experiment is study of transformer protection. So let's see what are the apparatus that we are going to use in performing the experiment. So the first thing is that the transformer protection simulation study panel. Now this panel has our transformer under test placed inside. Okay. And the other parts of this panel are a 4-pole MCB. That is the MCB for our 3-phase supply to the transformer. Another one is a single pole MCB. Now this is the control MCB. That is the supply for all the meters, relays and other equipment present in the panel. Now comes our various types of relays that we are going to use for transformer protection. The first is our overcurrent and earth fault relay. Second is our over voltage and under voltage relay. Third is our differential relay. And to control these relays, we have toggle switches so that we can switch on or switch off the relay according to our requirement while simulating the faults. Next comes our circuit breaker switches. Now this is switch 1 for circuit breaker 1 or transformer side circuit breaker. This is switch 2 for circuit breaker 2 or the load side circuit breaker. Now this is a indicator for fault condition. That means whenever any fault is simulated, this indicator will start glowing. This is the accept switch. That means whenever any fault occurs in the system, we are accepting that the fault is genuinely present in the system and we are going to rectify it manually, and after rectification we have another switch called reset switch. We can reset the system. That means without rectification, observing and rectifying the fault physically, we cannot reset the system, because if we reset the system in the fault condition, again the fault will occur and it can damage the system. Now there is a rotary switch, which is the switch for our timer. So whenever we are going to simulate the fault, we will switch this from position 1 to position 2. This will switch on the timer, and whenever the relay will trip, the timer will give us the actual time the relay takes to trip under various fault conditions. Now comes our circuit part. Now this is the whole circuit of the system. Okay. So in the circuit we are seeing that the 3-phase supply is coming to the system. There is a main MCB, that is the 4-pole MCB which is shown. Then it is coming to ammeter. So if you want to measure the current at various phases at the incoming of the transformer, we can connect ammeter at this point. But we are not using that in this experiment, so we have shorted the points. Now comes the circuit breaker 1 or the transformer side circuit breaker. Okay. Then comes the CT for the differential relays. Okay. Now comes the primary side of the transformer. This is the secondary side of the transformer. This is the CT connection for the second of differential relay for the secondary side. Okay. Again there are 3 points for connecting the ammeters to measure the current at the load end, but we are not going to use it in this experiment, so we are shorting it. And then comes the circuit breaker 2, the load side circuit breaker, and ultimately the load box or the resistance box, which is acting as the load of the system. Okay. Now the 3-phase supply which is coming to the system is coming from this 3-phase variable. Okay. And it is connected with the system internally. So no need to connect it from this front panel. Now the top part is the meter part. Now we have a voltmeter to measure the voltages. Okay, we have ammeters to measure the currents. We have the timer to measure the time taken by the relay to trip at various fault condition. We have a power analyzer for the primary side to note down the voltage and the current of the primary side, and a power analyzer for the secondary side to note down the current and the voltages at the secondary side. So this is my whole apparatus that we are going to use to perform this experiment. So before going to the experimental part, we must know that why transformer is so important that it is to be protected, and what are the various types of faults that comes in a transformer, because without knowing the fault we cannot design its protection. So coming to the first part, transformer is the heart of the transmission and the distribution system. In the whole transmission and the distribution system, various step up and step down transformers are used in combination, because we have to transmit the power generated in the generating station through long transmission line to our consumer end. So to avoid the losses, we have to step it up with the help of step up transformers, and again at the consumer end, to supply it to the consumer, we have to step it down to our standard voltage so that the consumer appliances can work properly. So if any of this step up or step down transformer gets under fault conditions, the whole transmission and distribution system will stop, and there will be power interruption in our consumer end. But that is not our goal. Our goal is to provide uninterrupted power supply to the consumer. So for that purpose, protection of transformer becomes very important. Now, before coming to the protection, we must know that what are the various types of faults that comes in a transformer. Now every system, whether it is transmission system or distribution system, it is designed to cater a specific amount of load. That means we cannot connect abrupt load to the transmission or distribution system. Accordingly, the transmission and the distribution system has its own maximum current carrying capacity. So now if that much amount of load is connected, which is rated for the transmission and the distribution system, the current of the system also remains in the limit and the system works properly. Now if extra load is added to the system, to cater that extra load, extra current starts flowing through the system, but our system is not designed for that extra current, so that can damage our equipment such as conductors of the transmission and distribution system, the transformers, the other switch gear equipment, because the current will exceed its rating. So to avoid such type of fault, overcurrent relays are connected to the system. Now in the overcurrent relay, there is a current setting which is set according to the design of the system. For example, in our overcurrent relay, according to this system, 3 ampere is set as the current limit. So if we connect such amount of load that the current remains within 3 ampere, the system will work properly. But if we increase the load such that the current in the system goes beyond 3 ampere, then this overcurrent relay will sense overcurrent and will trip the faulty load side from the healthy system. Because this is a load side fault, because it has occurred due to increase of the load. So our first fault is overcurrent fault. Now the second fault. The second fault is under voltage fault. Now under voltage fault is also a load side fault, because it is also related to the load. We know that the power of the transformer is constant. So if the current of the system increases, to maintain the constant power, the voltage will generally decrease. So how this current increases? Now if we increase the load in the system, to cater the load, the current of the system will also increase. But to maintain the constant power of the transformer, the voltage will decrease. Now if the voltage, our standard voltage is 220 volts, but if this voltage decreases below 220 volt and comes to 210 volt, then it is a low voltage condition, and this low voltage condition can damage the equipment in the consumer side. So this under voltage condition is also a very dangerous condition in the load side. So this type of fault is also to be protected. So that's why we are using over voltage and under voltage relays. Now in the over voltage and under voltage relay, we have voltage setting. Suppose in our system, our standard voltage is 220 volt. So we have set the over voltage setting of the relay to 230 volt and the under voltage setting to 210 volt. So now if we increase the load of the system through the load box and the current of the system increases, due to which the voltage decreases and goes below 210 volt, then the under voltage relay will sense under voltage and will trip the load side circuit breaker to isolate the faulty load from the remaining healthy system. So this is under voltage. Similarly, if we decrease the load in the load side, then what will happen? As the load will decrease, the current in the system will also decrease, which will result in increase of the voltage. Now, if the voltage increases in the load side abruptly and goes beyond the rated voltage, it can also damage the appliances in the consumer side, because all the appliances have a specific voltage range for working. So this over voltage can also become dangerous for the consumer side. So this is also to be protected. So the over voltage relay then comes into play. Now we have set the over voltage value in our system to 230 volt. So if we decrease the load, the current also decreases and the voltage increases, and if it goes beyond 230 volt, then the over voltage relay will sense over voltage and it will trip the load side circuit breaker to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system. Now the fourth type of fault that comes in the load side is the earth fault. Now earth fault can come in a system due to various reasons. See, in the transmission and the distribution system, we have seen that the conductors are mounted on metal poles with the help of insulators. Now these insulators have a specific dielectric strength, due to which it acts as a insulator, and it isolates the live conductors from the metal pole which is strongly grounded. Now due to continuous usage, what happens? The dielectric strength of these insulators gradually decreases. Now when this dielectric strength decreases, these insulators act as conductor under some specific conditions. Suppose the dielectric strength of our insulator has decreased, but our weather is very dry, like in summer conditions. The air is also very dry. So dry air is an insulator. So that's why in summer condition, when the air is dry, our insulators will work properly, though its dielectric strength has decreased. But problem will arise in moist air condition. Suppose in winter or in monsoon season, when the air has sufficient amount of moisture in it, this moist air will start acting as a conductor. So that time, these insulators whose dielectric strength have decreased will fail to insulate the live conductor from the metal pole which is grounded, and arcing will occur through the moist air which will act as a conductor from these live conductors to the pole. That means phase is coming directly in contact to the arc, so that is a dead short circuit condition, and high short circuit current can flow through the system which can damage the equipment in the load side. So this is to be protected. So that's why we are using the earth fault relay. So whenever such a condition occurs that our phase is directly coming in contact with the earth due to the failure of the insulator or due to the breakage of the live conductor in the stormy weather condition due to trees and the conductors coming to the ground, then this high short circuit current is sent by the earth fault relay, and the relay trips the load side circuit breaker to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system. So this overcurrent, under voltage, over voltage and earth fault are the load side fault, because all these faults are occurring either due to the load or in the load side, and in every case we are seeing that only the load side circuit breaker is tripping to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system. Okay. Now come to the transformer side fault. Now in the transformer, what happens? The primary and secondary windings are wound one upon the another in form of discs, and it is immersed in a tank full of insulation oil. Now these windings have insulating tape wound around them so that they can be isolated from one another, and the insulating oil also helps in isolating the live coil transformer winding from the body of the transformer, which is strongly grounded. Now due to the continuous uses, because transformer is never shut down until and unless any fault occurs, so it is working continuously 24 hours. So due to this continuous usage and due to normal wear and tear of any material, what happens? Sometimes the insulation of this winding breaks, or the dielectric strength of the oil decreases, and when this happens, either the winding of the primary comes in contact with the secondary, or the winding of one phase comes in contact with another phase, or the winding may come in contact with the body of the transformer, which is strongly grounded. So all this will create a dead short circuit condition, and high short circuit current can again flow through the system, which can damage the equipment in the load side. So that's why this type of fault is also to be protected. So that's why differential protection is used in case of transformer. Now what is the differential protection? Now similarly as in the case of generator, here also there are two pairs of CT in each phase of the primary as well as the secondary side of the transformer. Okay, so this is CT1 and CT2 for the R phase, primary and secondary respectively. This is CT1 and CT2 for the Y phase of the primary and the secondary side of the transformer respectively. And this is CT3 of the B phase of the primary and the secondary side of the transformer respectively. So now in normal condition, whatever current enters through CT1 goes out through CT2. So the difference of the current is 0 and no current flows through the differential relay. But whenever any type of fault, whether winding to winding or winding to earth fault occurs inside the transformer, the phase in which the fault occurs, the current, the incoming current of that phase differs from the outgoing current of that phase, because the outgoing current then contains the normal current plus the fault current. So it is higher than the incoming current. So there will be some difference of current, and this differential current flows through the differential relay, and the differential relay gets activated and it detects the fault inside the transformer and immediately trips both the transformer side circuit breaker as well as the load side circuit breaker to completely isolate the transformer which is under fault from the healthy system. In this case, both the circuit breaker trips because a transformer is a two-way device. So whether the fault occurs in the primary side or in the secondary side, it gets propagated to the next healthy side. So if any fault occurs in primary side, it gets propagated to the secondary side and to the load. Or if it occurs in the secondary side, it can get propagated to the primary side and go to the generating side also. So that's why both the circuit breakers trips so that the transformer gets completely isolated from the healthy system. So this is the differential fault. So all these faults, that is the load side fault like the overcurrent, under voltage, over voltage, earth fault, as well as the transformer side fault, that is the differential fault, we are going to simulate with the help of this simulating panel, and we will see that how much time the relay takes to trip in each fault condition, and accordingly we can determine the severity of the fault. So before starting the experiment, we have to do the connections. But before going to the connection, we must know the vector grouping of the transformer. So the transformer that is given for test is in DY11 configuration, and that DY11 connection has to be done in this part of the panel, that is the transformer part. But how to know that how DY11 connection will be done? For that purpose, we have to understand the vector diagram of the DY11. So let's study the vector diagram of the DY11 first, then we will come back to the connection. So the transformer given on the test is in DY11 configuration. Okay. So our D is in capital, so it represents the primary side. So the primary side is in delta configuration. So we will draw a delta first. Okay. So this is my delta connection of the primary side. So this is my A1, A2, that is winding of R phase, that is B1, B2, that is winding of Y phase, and this is C1 and C2, that is winding of the B phase. Now my secondary side, that is the smaller part, is in Y configuration, that is it is in star configuration, but it is configured to 11. So what is this 11? Now if we superimpose this delta inside a clock, the point at which the 11 position is there, the star connection of the secondary side will be inclined to that direction. So if we superimpose it in a clock, 11 will come somewhat in this point. Okay. So my star will be inclined towards this. So that means my star will be inclined towards this. Okay. And as it is for the secondary side, so it will be smaller than the delta. Okay. So this is my secondary side connected in star. Now, how to determine the phase of the secondary side? Now see, as this arm of the star is parallel to this arm of the delta, so it will be A1, A2. That is the R phase winding of the secondary side. Similarly, as this arm of the star connection is parallel to this arm of the delta connection, so this will be my B1, B2, or winding of the Y phase of the secondary side. Similarly, as this arm of the star connection is parallel to this arm of the delta connection, so this will be C1 and C2, or the B phase winding of the secondary side. So this is actually my DY11 configuration. So this is the theoretical DY11. Now how to connect it in the panel and how to determine whether our connection is correct or not, that will be determined with the help of the voltages. Now, if we connect this C1 with this C1, again C1 with this B1, again B1 with this C1, and B1 will this B1. Now this dotted line represents our voltage. So what are the voltage that we have to measure? First is V capital B1 and V small b1. V capital B1, small b1. That means this voltage. Then V capital B1 and small c1. Okay. That means this voltage. Then V capital C1 and small c1. That means this voltage. And V capital C1 and small b1. That means this voltage. Now, from this diagram, we can understand that this V capital C1 small b1, that is this voltage, is greater in magnitude than V capital B1 small b1, which is more or less equal to V capital B1 small c1, that means this, which is again more or less equal to V capital C1 and small c1, that means this voltage. Okay. Now if this criteria is fulfilled, then only we can say that our DY11 configuration is correctly connected in our panel, and then only we can proceed for the experiment, because according to this DY11 configuration, our differential relay parameters are set. In the manual you will see a sample calculation is given for a sample transformer, and the specification of our this transformer under test is also given. So according to that sample calculation, you have to calculate the various parameters of the differential relay for the transformer under test, and those parameters are to be fed in the differential relay. Then only the differential relay will work for the fault condition for the transformer. So if our transformer vector grouping is something else and the parameter given in the differential relay is something else, then the relay will not function and it will fail to protect the transformer in case of internal fault, and the transformer will ultimately come to the fault condition. So that part is given in the relay. So you have given in our manual. So you have to see the manual, calculate it, and whatever result you will get is already fed in the differential relay, and the differential relay will work accordingly. One thing is there that I want to tell you, that in general condition, if our transformer primary is in delta, then the CT of the differential relay of the primary side is in star. Similarly, if our secondary of the transformer is in star, then the CT of the differential relay in the secondary side will be in delta, and vice versa. But in our differential relay, instead of this connection, a numerical algorithm is given for various vector grouping. So whatever vector grouping of the transformer under test is given, we have to provide that algorithm or that code to the differential relay, and the differential relay will act according to that vector grouping. So that's why the CT for the differential relay in both the primary and the secondary side of the transformer for the differential relay are permanently connected to star. And according to that code, it compensates that and identifies the vector grouping of the transformer and work accordingly. So this much is about our vector grouping and the parameters of the differential relay. So now we can go for the connection and check whether we have connected our transformer correctly in DY11 or not. So we have understood the vector grouping of the transformer. Now come to the connection according to that vector grouping. So our three-phase supply is coming to the panel from this end. Okay. Now as the three-phase supply from the variac is connected internally through the to the panel, so we don't have to connect it externally from here. Now this three-phase supply comes to the 4-pole MCB that is placed at the bottom of the panel. Now from this 4-pole MCB it comes to the ammeter point, so that we can measure the current of various phases at the incoming side of the transformer. But we don't have to take the reading of the current, so ammeters are not required, so we have just shorted the ammeter points. Now the supply comes to circuit breaker 1, that is the transformer circuit breaker, which can be operated with this switch CB1. Then the supply comes to the CT for the differential relay, and then to the primary of the transformer. So first we will start the connection from the primary of the transformer. Now according to this diagram, our primary side is delta connected because it is in capital D, so it is delta connected. So we have to connect the primary in delta. Now the A2 of R phase is connected to B1 of the Y phase of the primary side. So which is our A2 and B1? Now while connecting the primary side of the transformer, we have to look at the transformer from the supply end. So from the supply end, this becomes our A1 and A2 of R phase, B1 and B2 of Y phase, and C1 and C2 of our B phase. So here A2 of R phase is connected to B1 of Y phase. So we will connect A2, A1, A2 of R phase to B1 of Y phase. Okay. Similarly, B2 of Y phase is connected to C1 of B phase. So B2 of Y phase is connected to the C1 of B phase, and C2 of B phase is again connected to A1 of R phase. So C2 of B phase is connected to A1 of R phase. So our primary side is connected in delta. Okay. Now coming to the secondary side. Now while connecting the secondary side of the transformer, we have to look at the transformer from the load end. So from the load end, this becomes our A1 and A2 of R phase, B1 and B2 of Y phase, and C1 and C2 of B phase of the secondary side. So here in the diagram what we are seeing, that A2 of R phase, B2 of Y phase, and C2 of B phase of secondary are connected to a common point. Okay, so we are connecting A2 of R phase to B2 of Y phase and B2 of Y phase to C2 of B phase of the secondary side, and we are connecting the star point to the ground. Okay, or neutral. So here we are seeing that this neutral is disconnected. So we have to connect it with a patch cord so that it becomes a continuous neutral and we can connect it to the neutral. Okay, so we have to connect it with the help of a patch cord so that it becomes continuous, and then we have to connect it to the neutral. So the secondary part of our transformer is connected. Now supply to the load will go from A1, B1 and C1. So supply to the load is going from A1, B1 and C1. Okay. Now so we have connected our transformer to DY-N11. We can also connect it directly to DY11 also. In that case, we will not connect it to the neutral, we will directly connect the star point to the earth. Okay. But in both the cases, the configuration for the differential relay will remain the same. Okay. So we have connected the transformer, but whether the connection is correct or not, we have to verify it before starting the experiment. So how to verify it? We have to verify by measuring the voltage, as I have shown. So we have to measure the voltage. So before measuring the voltage, what we see that here the A1 of the primary delta and A1 of the secondary star are a common point. So both the A1 will be shorted. So first both the A1 of the delta of the primary side will be shorted with A1 of the star of the secondary side. And now we will measure the various voltages. That is the voltage VB1, capital B1, small b1, V capital B1, small c1, V capital C1, small c1 and V capital C1, small b1. And we will see whether this condition, that is V capital C1 small b1, is greater than V capital B1 small b1, which will be nearly equal to V capital B1 small c1, nearly equal to V capital C1 small c1. So for that we have to give supply to the panel. So we are unlocking the panel, starting our 3-phase supply with the help of the 4-pole MCB and starting the control supply with the single pole MCB. Okay. Now we have to switch on circuit breaker 1. So we are switching on circuit breaker 1 so that our supply goes to the transformer. Now we are giving a very small amount of supply to the transformer. So how to measure the supply? We will connect a voltmeter with the desired point for which the voltage is to be taken. So first we will take the voltage for V capital B1 and small b1. So this is my V capital B1 and this is my V small b1, and we will connect it with this voltmeter and we will give some small amount of supply, suppose 10 volt, to the system. But before that we have to disconnect the neutral of the star point. Okay, otherwise our voltage reading will be erroneous. So to remove the error, we have to remove the neutral point of the star, and now we will give a small amount of supply to the system. suppose 10 volts we are giving. So my V capital B1 and small b1 is 10 volts. Okay, so it is 10 volts. Now we will measure V capital B1 and small c1. So capital B1 is connected, we will connect it to small c1. Again it is 10 volts. So V capital B1 and small c1 is also 10 volt. Now we will measure V capital C1 and small c1. So it is already connected to capital C1, the small c1. So we will just connect it to capital C1. Again it is 10 volts. Now we will measure V capital C1 and small b1. So it is already connected to capital C1. So we will connect it to small b1. Now it is 27.68 volts. So we can see that V capital C1 small b1 is greater than V capital B1 small b1, which is nearly equal to V capital B1 small c1, which is nearly equal to V capital C1 small c1. Okay, so this criteria is fulfilled. So we can say that our connection for DY11 for the transformer under test is correct, and we can proceed further with the experiment. So we are confirmed that our transformer under test is correctly connected to DY11. So we can easily proceed for the experiment. Okay. So let's proceed with the connection. So again we will put the supply to 0, switch off the transformer circuit breaker, switch off our control supply, switch off our 3-phase power supply, and lock the panel again and proceed with the connection. So now these connections are not required, voltage measurement. So we will remove these cords and we will again remove this shorting of capital A1 and small a1. Okay, and again we will connect it with the neutral, the star point of the secondary side to the neutral. So our transformer connection is over. Now do the rest of the connections. So the rest of the connection consists of connection for the CT of the differential relay. Now while connecting the CT of the primary side also, we have to look it from the supply end, and accordingly S1 and S2 will be determined. So this is my supply end. So this will become S1 and S2 for the R phase CT. This will become S1 and S2 for the Y phase CT, and this will become S1 and S2 for the B phase CT. So now the S2 of the CTs will be star connected, because we have told that the CTs are permanently connected to star, and according to the vector grouping of the transformer under test, a numerical algorithm or coding is given to the differential relay so that the relay detects the vector grouping of the transformer under test and operates accordingly. So the secondary of the CT are connected to star, and the star point is again connected to the neutral. Star point is again connected to the neutral. Okay. Now the primary of the CT, that is the S1 point, is to be connected to the differential relay. So these are the CT points of the differential relay. This is for the HV side, primary and secondary of the CT, and this is for the LV side, primary and secondary of the CT. So the as this is the HV side of the transformer or the primary side, so the S1 or the primary of the CT will be connected to the S1 point of the primary of the HV side. So S1 of R phase CT of the primary side is connected to S1 of the R phase CT of the HV side. Similarly, S1 of the Y phase CT of the primary side is connected to S1 of the Y phase CT of the HV side. And similarly, the S1 of the B phase CT of the primary side is connected to S1 of the B phase CT of the HV side. Okay. Now coming to the CT of the differential relay of the secondary side. Now while connecting the CT of the secondary side, again we have to look at the CT from the load end and determine the S1 and S2 point of the CT. So from this load end, this becomes my S1 and this becomes my S2 of the R phase of the CT of the secondary side. This becomes S1 and S2 of the Y phase of the CT of the secondary side, and this becomes S1 and S2 of the B phase of the CT of the secondary side. So again the S2 points of the CT are star connected, so it will be shorted. So S2 of R phase is connected to S2 of Y phase. S2 of Y phase is connected to S2 of the B phase, and the star point is again connected to the neutral. Okay. So S2 are star connected. Again the S1s of the CT will be connected to the differential relay. So S1 of the R phase of the secondary side CT will be connected to S1 of the R phase of the LV side. S1 of the Y phase of the secondary side of the CT will be connected to S1 of the Y phase of the LV side, and S1 of the B phase of the secondary side of the CT will be connected to S1 of the B phase of the LV side. Okay. Now, as we have already star connected the secondaries of the CTs or the S2 of the CTs in star in this panel, so we don't have to connect it here separately. So what we will do, we will connect all these points in star and we will connect it to the neutral. Okay. So we will connect S2 of the primary side CT of the R phase to S2 of the primary side CT Y phase, S2 of the primary side of CT Y phase to S2 of the primary side CT B phase. Again this S2 of the primary side B phase to S2 of the secondary side B phase, S2 of secondary side B phase to S2 of secondary side Y phase, and S2 of secondary side Y phase to S2 of secondary side R phase. And now we will connect this with the neutral point here. Okay. So either we can take the connection of the S2 of both the primary side CT and secondary side CT to the respective point and connect it star here, but here the connection will look more complicated. So for simplicity, we have connected the S2 of the primary side CT to start at this point and S2 of the secondary side CT to start at this point, and both the stars are connected to the neutral, and we are interconnecting the S2 points of the differential relay of both primary and secondary side with one another and connecting to the neutral. So the S2s are automatically getting connected with the differential relay. Okay. Now again we have ammeter points to take the current reading of the load side, but we don't require it, so we are shorting the ammeter points, and the supply goes to the circuit breaker 2, that is the load end circuit breaker that can be operated with this CB2 switch, and ultimately my supply is going to the 3-phase resistive load, that is this load box. So this much is our connection part. Now we can safely proceed for our experimental part. So let's start our experimental part. So first again we are unlocking our panel. Okay. Then we are switching on the 3-phase supply with this 4-pole MCB, and our 3-phase supply is switched on and RYB indicators are glowing. Then we are switching on our control supply for the panel with the single pole MCB, and our control supply has started and all the meters and the relays became operative. Okay. Now we are switching on circuit breaker 1, that is our transformer side circuit breaker. Okay. So transformer side circuit breaker is switched on and it is also indicated in this connection part. Now we are going to apply our rated voltage to the transformer. Okay. So as initially our transformer is in low load condition, so our voltage will be little higher than the rated voltage. Okay. Once load is connected with the system, the voltage current will come into play in the system and the voltage will automatically drop and come to our rated voltage, that is 220 in each phase. So see, our voltage is gradually increasing as I am operating the variable. So as there is no load in the system, so there is no current in the system, so the voltage is higher than our rated voltage. Our rated voltage is 220 in each phase, but now it is showing 231 in each phase. So now we have to connect the load with the system. So we will switch on my load side circuit breaker, that is CB2. Okay. So we have switched on my load side circuit breaker CB2, and my load side circuit breaker is switched on, is also indicated in the connection panel. Okay. So now we will gradually connect load with the system, and we will see that our voltage will decrease, and at the same time there will be current in the system. As there is no load in the system, the current in the system is 0 and the voltage is higher than the rated voltage. Now when the load will increase, current will come into play in the system and our voltage will gradually start dropping. So let's connect the load with the system. So we are connecting the load one by one with the system. See, as load is getting connected, voltage is gradually decreasing and current in the system is gradually increasing. Now see, as the current has reached beyond 3 ampere in the R phase, so our overcurrent relay has sensed that overcurrent and the R phase indicator started blinking and our system tripped in overcurrent, which is shown in this connection panel, that overcurrent relay is activated and my load side circuit breaker is tripped to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system, and the relay took 4.2 seconds to trip in the overcurrent. Okay, so what we will do? So we will accept that fault has occurred in the system. So we will accept the fault. Okay, now we will rectify it. So we will decrease some amount of load from the system. Okay, so now when the load is decreased, so we will again reset the relay, and the relay is resetted, is indicated that the R phase LED which was blinking in overcurrent is now stopped. That means the relay is resetted. Now we will reset the panel. So the panel is resetted, is indicated that the overcurrent relay indication in this connection block is switched off. Now again if we switch on the load side circuit breaker, our load side circuit breaker is switched on and the system is healthy again because the current is below 3 amperes. So this is my overcurrent fault and its protection. So now we will simulate our next fault, that is under voltage fault. Now how under voltage fault occurs? Now when the load in the system is increased, to cater the load, current in the system will also increase, but the power rating of the transformer is constant. So what will happen? The voltage of the system will drop. Now our standard voltage is 220 volt. Now if this voltage drops and comes to 210 volt, then it will create an under voltage condition and it can affect the appliances of the consumer side. So in order to avoid such condition, under voltage relay is used. So now here this is our under voltage relay, but actually this is a composite relay. It can work as over voltage as well as under voltage, but according to the setting we set. Okay, so now first let's see the setting of the under voltage relay. So now in this case we will switch off our overcurrent and earth fault relay and we will switch on our over voltage and under voltage relay. So see, now the relay is in under voltage mode. Okay, how the relay came to under voltage mode? See, there are two dip switch sets present here, dip switch 1 block and dip switch block 2. Now the setting of the relay to over voltage and under voltage is determined by this dip switch block 2. Now if the dip position of the switch block 2 is in off, on, off, it is in definite time 10 second under voltage condition, and we are going to use this. So our dip switch of the switch block 2 is in off, on, off. That means it is in under voltage definite time 10 seconds. Okay, so we have set it to under voltage. Now what is our under voltage limit of under voltage? Now that is determined by dip switch block 1 and the relay. Now our dip switch block 1 is the voltage setting for Vn. Now it is in on, off condition. So what is on, off condition? On, off condition means Vn is 110 volt. That means our, if we give 220 volt in the primary of the PT, we will get 110 volt in the secondary side of our PT. Okay, as it is measuring voltage, so we are using PT. Okay, so our Vn is 110 volt. Now Vs, that is the voltage setting for our under voltage condition. Now Vs is equal to 1 plus minus 0.05 plus summation of A. This A is this switch block. Now all the switches in this dip switch block is in off position. So summation of A becomes 0. So it becomes 1 plus minus 0.05 plus 0 into Vn. That means 0.05 plus 0 is 0.05 plus 1 is 1.05 into Vn, that is 110 volt. So whatever voltage that comes according to this calculation, that voltage will be projected in the primary side. And we have seen that in the primary side, if 220 is our rated voltage, if it becomes 231, then it will sense over voltage. Similarly, if it becomes 210, it will sense under voltage. So that means if our voltage drops below to 210, then the relay will sense under voltage and will trip the load side circuit breaker to isolate the faulty load from the healthy transformer. So how to bring the voltage to 210 volt? We will increase the load, which will increase the current, and to maintain the constant power of the transformer, our voltage will decrease. So let's increase the load. So we are going to increase the load one by one. See, once as the voltage is, we are increasing the load, the voltage is decreasing, and see, when it comes below 210, it sends under voltage and it trips the load side circuit breaker, that is circuit breaker 2, to isolate the faulty load from the healthy transformer, and my under voltage relay is also indicated in this connection panel. Okay, and it took 3 seconds to trip in under voltage condition. Now we have accepted the fault, that there is fault in the system, so we will rectify the fault. So how to rectify? We will again decrease some load so that the current in the system increases and decreases, and the voltage again increases to the normal value. So we have decreased the load. Now what we will do? We will reset the relay. So we will reset the relay. Okay, we have accepted the fault. So we have seen that after increasing the load, still the relay is not reset. Why? Because this relay is interlocked with the load. Now as the circuit breaker of the load side has tripped, so no load is connected in the system, so no power current or supply is going through the over voltage and under voltage relay. So it is thinking there is no voltage and it is not resetting. So what we have to do? We have to switch off this relay. Once the relay is switched off, then we can reset the fault. Okay, then we will again switch on circuit breaker 2 to connect the load with the system. Okay, now again we will switch on the over voltage and the under voltage relay. See, the relay got reset. So this is my under voltage fault. So now we are going to simulate overvoltage. So how overvoltage will occur? Now if we decrease the load in the system, the current in the system will also decrease. So to maintain the power rating of the transformer, the voltage of the system will increase. Now if the voltage increases too much from our rated value, that is 220 volt, and goes to 230 or 231 volt, then our overvoltage relay will sense overvoltage and will trip the faulty load from the healthy system, because this abrupt rise in voltage may damage the appliances of the consumer side, because every appliance has a specific voltage range of operation beyond which it will get damaged. So now let's simulate the overvoltage. So before simulating the overvoltage, again we have to set this undervoltage and overvoltage relay to overvoltage mode. So again we will switch off this overvoltage and undervoltage relay to bring it in offload condition. Okay. Now when it is in offload condition, now we will set it to overvoltage. So we will use definite time overvoltage, definite time 10 seconds. So dip position for overvoltage, definite time 10 seconds will be on, off in switch block 2. So this is my dip switch block 2. So it will be on, off. So on, off. So on, off in switch block 2 will be over voltage, definite time 10 seconds. Okay. So now my relay is set to over voltage mode. Now if we switch it on, we will see that it is set to over voltage mode. Again the over voltage current setting will be, see, in switch block 1 our setting is on, off. So in switch block 1 the setting on, off means Vn 110 volt. So if Vn is 110 volt, so my Vs, that is over voltage setting, will be again 1 plus minus 0.05 plus summation of A. A means this switch block in which all the switches are in off position. So summation of A becomes 0 into Vn. So it becomes 0 plus 0.05, which is 0.05 plus 1, that is 1.05 into Vn 110. So according to this, if my primary side voltage increases from 220 volt to 231 volt, this relay will sense over voltage and will trip circuit breaker 2, that is the load side circuit breaker, to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system. So now let's simulate it. So now we are gradually decreasing the load, and see, when the load is decreasing, the voltage is increasing. Now see, the voltage when increase to 231, the over voltage relay sensed over voltage and trip, and this is also shown in the connection block, that over voltage relay has tripped circuit breaker 2, that is the load side circuit breaker, to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system, and it tripped in 1.2 seconds. Okay. So that means now our over voltage relay has tripped the system in over voltage and isolated the faulty load from the healthy system. So we have accepted the fault. So we will increase some load so that the current in the system increases and the voltage decreases and comes to normal value. Okay. Now we will again switch off the relay. Okay. Now we will reset the system and see that over voltage relay indication is gone. That means the system is resetted. Now again if we switch on our load side circuit breaker, the system is healthy again. So this is again, if you switch on the relay fault indication is also gone and my system becomes healthy. So this is the over voltage fault. Okay. So now come to earth fault. So how to simulate earth fault? Before that, we will switch off our over voltage and under voltage relay, and we will again switch on our over current and earth fault relay. Okay. So earth fault means whenever the live conductor comes in contact with the earth, takes short circuit condition occur and high short circuit current flows through the system. And when this high short circuit current is sensed by the earth fault relay, it trips the load side circuit breaker to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system, and earth fault is protected. Okay, now how our live conductor comes in contact with earth, that I have told you in the theory. So let's simulate the earth fault. So suppose, let's take the R phase of the load side. Okay. Now, as earth fault is a dead short circuit condition, so high short circuit current can flow through the system. Okay. So this high short circuit current may damage this banana connector. So for this, we are using heavier banana connectors so that it can withstand this high short circuit current. So suppose we are taking this R phase of the load and I am connecting it to this dummy banana connector, and the output of this dummy banana connector is now connected to ground. Okay. So initially these two connectors are not connected, but as soon as we switch on the timer switch, these two becomes connected and the R phase will directly get connected to the ground to create earth fault, and the earth fault relay will show indications of R and E, because R phase is getting connected to earth and it will trip, and a trip time will be noted in this timer. Okay. So we are switching on the load side circuit breaker. Now if we switch on the timer, it will trip immediately. See, as R phase is coming in contact with earth, so R and earth indicator are glowing and the relay tripped in earth fault, which is determined by this connection panel indicator, and it has tripped the load side circuit breaker, that is circuit breaker 2, to isolate the faulty load from the healthy system in 0.12 seconds. Okay. So now fault has occurred, so we are accepting the fault. So we are removing the fault, that is we are removing this R phase from earth. Now we are resetting the relay. See, the relay is resetted because the fault indicators are gone. Now we are resetting the panel. See, the relay indicator is also switched off. Now if we switch on the system is again healthy. Load side faults are over. Now come to the transformer side fault, that is differential fault. So how differential fault occurs? Now if any one of the phase comes in contact with another phase or the body of the transformer, then also dead short circuit conditions occur and high short circuit current will flow through the system. Now this high short circuit current can propagate in both sides of the system. So that's why this and can damage the equipment. So this fault is also to be resisted, and it can be resisted with the help of differential relay. Now the functioning of the differential relay is already told. So let's start the simulation of the fault. So suppose we are connecting one phase of the secondary side of the transformer, that is suppose Y phase, to this dummy Y phase connector, and the output of this dummy connector is again connected to the ground. Now if we switch on the timer, these two connectors will get internally connected, and Y phase will be directly connected to the ground, and the differential relay will trip the system. So let's see, Y phase got connected to the ground, so my differential relay tripped the system in internal fault, which is also indicated by the differential relay indicated in the connection panel, and it tripped both circuit breaker 1, that is transformer circuit breaker, as well as circuit breaker 2, that is the load circuit breaker, to completely isolate the transformer from the healthy system in 0.23 seconds. This is because transformer is a bidirectional device. So any problem inside the transformer can propagate in both the primary side as well as the secondary side. So both the circuit breaker is tripped so that the transformer gets completely isolated from the healthy system, and no fault current is propagated in any of the sides. So now the fault current values will be shown in the differential relay itself. So this is the fault current value. Okay. So now what we will do? We will accept the fault, that the fault has occurred. Now we will physically remove the fault, that is we are disconnecting this R phase from the ground. Okay. Now we will reset the relay. Okay. Now we will reset the system, and the system got resetted. Is indicated that the differential relay indicator is gone in the connection panel. Now again, if we start circuit breaker 1, that is the transformer circuit breaker, and circuit breaker 2, the load side circuit breaker, the system is healthy again. So this is my differential fault. So we have simulated various types of fault, both of the load side as well as in the transformer side, with the help of this panel, and we have seen that how much time the relay takes to trip in each case. So our fault simulation part is over. Now how to switch off the panel? So first we have to switch off the load. So first we will switch off the load. That means load is to be first disconnected from the panel. So all the loads are switched off, and load side circuit breaker is also switched off. So load is now completely disconnected from the panel. Now we will gradually decrease the voltage of the input side to 0. Okay, the input side voltage became 0, and we will switch off the transformer side circuit breaker also. So the transformer is also discharged, and ultimately we will switch off the 3-phase supply with the help of this 4-pole MCB. 3-phase supply switch off is indicated by switching off of the indicator of the RYB phase. Now we will switch off the control supply of the panel, and it is indicated by switching off of the meters and all the relays of the panel, and now we will lock the panel for safety. So this much is for transformer protection study. So see you in the next experiment. Thank you.